Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to lecture number 18. And as we have discussed the first part of this knowledge area, that is the sixth knowledge area we are discussing at this point in time. So that is solution assessment and validation, and we have a very good idea now that business analysis is can be discussed in 7 knowledge areas, distinct 7 knowledge areas, and then those knowledge areas are defined by the tasks, and there are different tasks for every knowledge area, and we have discussed about first knowledge area, that is business analysis, planning and monitoring, and then we had discussed about elicitation, how to get the requirements from different stakeholders, and then we have talked about requirements management and communication, the aspect of communication on requirement management, and then we have discussed about enterprise analysis, understanding need and the business case, and understanding the capability gap, and defining solution scope over there. And then we had discussed about requirement analysis and different types of requirements we have, because we want to actually satisfy the needs of the stakeholders. So we are having different set of requirements we are discussing. We are having verified, or we are validated, or we are having requirements structures, and we are having prioritized requirements and stuff like that. And then we had talked in good detail of requirement analysis. When we were discussing enterprise analysis over there, we had talked that enterprise analysis knowledge is very important, and that is that actually also gives the basis of so many other tasks, and the tasks of enterprise analysis actually whatever the outputs they produced are used in other knowledge areas tasks, and by that time we had discussed the requirement analysis and business solution assessment and validation knowledge area, which is by that time which were to come. I've told you that this enterprise analysis is actually giving the context to the remaining 2 knowledge areas, which are requirement analysis and solution assessment and validation. And now we have the second part of solution assessment and validation. We have 6 tasks in that knowledge area. 3 we had discussed earlier, and now we are going to discuss the remaining 3. But before we proceed, let's have a look on what we have discussed in other lecture. So the other day we were discussing about what is solution assessment and validation. We had talked about that knowledge area, and we will see the definition today as well. And then we had discussed about input and output diagram. Like there are 6 tasks, and they are producing those tasks are producing outputs, and by using the inputs from other tasks of different knowledge areas of business analysis. And we had discussed about assessing proposed solution task. So we need to generate different solutions, and then we set some criterion, and we apply some such techniques like decision analysis and something like that, and hence we will have a solution which is we may have one solution, and we may have alternative solution. So if we have one solution, so we are actually basically we are actually giving it calculation if that solution is adding value to the organization or not desired value. And if we are having different solutions, then we are actually comparing them with each other, relative importance we are getting, and then which solution is actually giving the maximum value to the enterprise. And then we had talked about allocate requirements, and requirements, they can be like business requirements, and they can be stakeholder requirements, and then we allocate to the solution components which satisfy the needs of the stakeholders and the business need for which we have carried out this whole exercise. So we had discussed on that, and then very important thing we had talked on is organizational readiness. Well, whenever the project is carried out, that is actually bringing the change. And when we are talking of business analysis, so business analysis is actually apprehended that is based on business need. And business need is to attend some problem or enhance the capability or improving the process or something like that. So whatever the case may be, whatever the initial, it will bring some change. And people are reluctant to accept the change. It is quite natural. It is psyche of people. They don't accept change, at least straight away. There are so many reasons not for not accepting the change, but we are not going into it. We have discussed those in good detail in previous lectures. So whatever the change that is coming, we need to assess if the change is acceptable to which group or which stakeholders, and who is going to be in the favor of change and who is going be the force against the change. So we need to understand that. And then we need to understand if we are bringing some change. It is not only about accepting, like if okay, we are accepting the change, but we are not actually using that solution. So this is another type of not accepting the change. So if solution is being implemented, we need to understand that how extensive the solution will be used, or will it replace the older solution which is available with the enterprise or not, or very good indicators are there for assessing readiness, like training sessions and stuff like that, and top management commitment to that solution. So we need to assess, and this is what we had discussed. So this is a previous lecture, and now we will proceed to the remaining three tasks of this knowledge area. And as we do know that we are into solution assessment and validation knowledge area, and okay, so as I've told you, we are going to discuss the definition, and we will see if how much definition by this point in time, by only understanding three tasks, how much we have understood the definition, and what are the remaining aspects we need to understand. So the solution assessment and validation knowledge area describes the tasks, we have discussed three, that are performed in order to ensure the solution meet the business need. Business need and facilitate the successful implementation. So we have talked something about that, and we want to ensure that whatever we are proposing the solutions, we can actually apprehend that. So while we were assessing proposed solution, and we were allocating requirements, we were actually contributing to that. The solution meet the business need. We were selecting one of the best solutions based on the criterion, and we were accordingly allocating the requirements to the solution components. And we want, when we were actually assessing the readiness of the organization, we want to ensure the successful implementation as well. So, we are left with more things, and this is input-out diagram. We had seen this, and we have discussed these three. And now we need to, when we are apprehending if the organization is ready to accept the change or not, or what will be the solution future. We need to understand transition requirements. What are those? And then we need to validate the solution. Then we need to evaluate solution performance. So now we are into define transition requirements, which is the fourth task of that knowledge area. So let's start this, and then we will get back again to the definition, and we will see if we could relate these tasks to the basic definition or not. So define transition requirements. To define requirements for capabilities needed to transition from an existing solution to a new solution. So the projects may be of many types, initiatives may be of many types. Whatever the type we are having, it will change the system. We are having a particular state and we want to get to some other state which is improved one. And we have assessed the capabilities, requirements and stuff like that, all the remaining things. Now we need to see if when we are at this stage and we want to go over there, we are basing our decision on so many assumptions. So we need to check if our assumptions are valid or not. So assumptions are known to be true, but they have an element of uncertainty. And our decisions and our capabilities and our proposals are so much dependent on the constraints as well. So when we need to go from this to this, obviously we are in because there will be a point in time when if we are like, okay, over there, so we are at this stage and we need to go over there. So, and this is time, and we want to improve. So what will happen? There will be a time when this system or this existing solution is overlapping with this system. I mean, we may suddenly abandon this system, or we can continue. But this is not the real case. Organization, they have a transition stage from the previous solution to this solution. So this is a good example. Like if we are having a laptop or we are having a computer, and we've bought another computer, and what will we do? I mean, we will straight away format that and sell that. Rather, what we will do is we will be actually capturing all the data, and we are sorting data, and then we are transferring that data into the new system. And after some time, in meantime, we are using basically both the computers. There may be a situation, and then we are actually selling this thing, or we are but then we are using only one laptop or computer. So this is an example. So what are the requirements from this point to this point? A transition from old system to new system, from this project to another project, and from this existing solution to the new solution. We need to understand those requirements for capabilities if we are going to apply a solution, and this will enhance the capabilities of administration of our department and or our enterprise. What we need to understand that if the people already working there are capable to run that new solution or not, what kind of capabilities we may be in need of. So we need to define those requirements for capabilities which are required for the new solution in replace of the existing solution. So this is the purpose of this thing. So in most cases, a solution is implemented within an enterprise in order to enhance or replace an existing solution. So during the transition period, the time when both old and new solutions are operational, the enterprise may need to operate both solutions in parallel, move information between the new and old solution, conduct training to enable stakeholders to effectively operate the new solution, and so forth. So we have discussed kind of more or less of this definition. And in addition to developing the solution itself, the implementation team is likely to have to develop additional capabilities to support this transition, like trainings, like manuals, like SOPs, and like changes in rules and stuff like that. And those capabilities which the team needs to understand, and those are requirements, just like as stakeholder needs to be able to make this transition successful. But they are different in nature from other kinds of requirements, as they cannot be defined until the solution has been designed. So other requirements are actually, we do have all the requirements when because we want to have a solution. So we do have requirements with us, and then we design a solution. But for transition requirements, we must have a solution so that we can apprehend, okay, so this is a solution, this is a new solution, and this is old solution, and we want to leave this and we want to adopt this. How much more capabilities and what type of capabilities we are in need, and that those will translate into requirements, and then these are actually transition requirements. So these requirements also have a different lifespan from other types of requirements, as they remain relevant only during the transition period between solutions. So after the transition is complete, they become irrelevant because the solution has already been implemented, and that solution may not be implemented again. Whenever we will be in future, the improved solution will be implemented. We are not going to use like version 1 of while we are into version 21 of organizational process asserts. So the requirements which were actually apprehended during the transition of SOPs, standard operating procedures, from version 1 to version 2 may not be relevant when we are actually going from version 20 to 21. So as those sets of SOPs are new sets, and now the requirements will be different. So transition requirements, they are only relevant for a particular lifespan. And what we need to apprehend before we are actually going, while we were discussing organizational readiness, we were actually of that opinion as how much training we are need, and how much things we are in need of. Because we want to assess if organization is going to accept the change or not. So if they are going to accept, then we need to understand that what kind of requirements they may have, so that the change can be implemented successfully. The supportive stakeholders can be capitalized, the support can be capitalized, and the people who are actually denying the change, or they are resisting the change. So people usually they deny or resist the change because they have this fear if they cannot adopt a new system or new solution. So if we can identify their concerns through elicitations, third process, so we can have now a very good idea as well if what are their concerns and what are their requirements. So this is why organizational readiness assessment is one of the input. So it is used to identify areas where the organization needs to add new capabilities to manage and operate the new solution. And then requirements stated. Stakeholders will identify the information and process they need during transition and solution deployed. The deployed or existing solution will be investigated to understand what needs to be transitioned to new solution, and solution designed, and the solution for the new solution. The design for the new solution must be sufficiently defined to allow major differences to be identified. So we are having this system and we are having this system. We need to identify, okay, what was missing over there, and now what we need to add. If there are 10 functions and now there are 11 functions, so 9 functions are same and 2 functions are new, and 1 function is omitted. So 9 functions are common, so there won't be our need, but then 2 functions are new, so we maybe need to have the proper training on that. And for this we are in need of this system and this system and this solution and this solution. So deployed and designed solutions, they are inputs. So what we have discussed now, so we are in need of organizational readiness assessment, which is output of assess organizational readiness, and then we are having requirements stated, and we need solutions deployed and solution designed, and then we need to define transition requirements, and we will apply necessary techniques, and we will have transition requirements. So what task we will be using this as input, this output of defined transition requirement task. The one is prioritize requirements. So that is the first task. So task of fifth knowledge area, that is requirement analysis, and then verify requirements is the fifth task of requirement analysis, and then requirements management and communication tasks, they are using this thing. So likely sources of transition requirements include the data, so actual data and metadata managed by the old system needs to be evaluated to determine whether the archive the information to transfer it to the new solution. So what we need is we need actual data and metadata. Metadata is data about data. What type of data we have. So information regarding that is metadata. So ongoing work, it is likely that work will be ongoing in the old version of the solution at the time the new version is implemented. So we need to apprehend that as well, like which working is underway. And then organizational change, the business analyst may be involved in developing a process for managing the people side of change related to the solution. And organizational change management generally refers to the process and set of tools for managing change at an organizational level. The business analyst may help to develop recommendations for changes to the organizational structure or personnel, as job functions may change significantly as a result of work being automated. New information may be made available to stakeholders, and new skills may be required. And techniques, what techniques we do use, we apply business rules analysis. We will actually discuss these techniques in detail. What are the elements of these techniques, what are the advantages, disadvantages, strengths and weaknesses of these techniques, how these techniques can be used. So we will be having sessions on 2 or 3 sessions on that. We have actually planned 3 sessions on the techniques part, so we will talk. But over there, the application of one technique on a particular task, that is a defined transition requirements task. So additional business rules may be defined to assist in migrating data or to manage work migrated from the existing solution, as it is possible that different rules may apply depending on when the work was performed. So when we were having this solution and there were business rules, and now we are having this solution, and there may be different rules for managing the stuff now in that solution, and there may be different rules, so we need to apprehend those rules and the bridge between them. And then data flow diagrams, process modeling and organization modeling, these may be analyzed to identify the differences between existing and new solutions. And data modeling, physical data models of existing and new solutions will be compared to enable a mapping between the two. So data modeling includes about physical data models, जो हमारा existing है और जो हमारा new solution है, हम उसको compare करके जो है वो एक mapping कर सकते हैं जो दोनों के दरमियान. And what stakeholders or which stakeholders we will have? So we will have the customer, because that may be negatively affected during the transition based on the transfer of ongoing work, or if information is incorrectly transferred. Domain subject matter experts will provide information on the existing solution and assist in verification and validation of transition requirements. End user, if the existing and new solutions are both in use for a period, they will need to know how to coordinate between them. And implementation subject matter experts will be the source for many of the transition requirements. Operational support may need to operate two solutions simultaneously. So a project manager will need to plan for the work required to implement the transition requirements. This may affect the project scope. And regulator may require the records of the transition requirements and process be retained for long-term review and compliance with regulations. Tester will verify that the transition has been performed correctly, including the development of test plans. And sponsor will need to be informed of the potential effects of the transition on the cost and benefits of the new solution. So these are the stakeholders involved, and what we have then after defining transition requirements, we have transition requirements. So transition requirements describe the capabilities that must be developed in order for an organization to successfully transition between solutions. Transition requirements are analyzed by this task and must still be verified, validated, managed, and communicated. Just like the other other tasks, we need to follow that. So they may still must be verified, validated, managed, and communicated. So this is not the end of the thing over there. So this is all about defining transition requirements. And now we will move to validate solution. So validate a solution, validate that a solution meets the business need and determine the most appropriate response to identified defects. So there are two segments. First is business need, meeting business need, and most appropriate response to identified defects. So a solution was actually developed to meet a business need. So we had a need and we wanted to meet that, and for that we want to achieve something, one level. So we were at this place and we want to go some place there. So what happened, we have applied, or we have designed a solution, and we have carried out transition requirements, and we have actually verified and validated those requirements, and then and solution is implemented. Now we need to validate if the solution has actually fulfilled for which that solution was created for. And if there are some defects, so we need to determine what are the most appropriate responses for those defects. So solution validation is required to ensure that the delivered solution meets the business needs on an ongoing basis. So we need to apprehend that this is not only the case if we have achieved this and that's it. We need to actually apprehend that कि जो हमारा solution हमने develop किया है वो continuously ongoing basis पे भी वो चीज़ें deliver कर रहा है जिसके लिए वो solution हमने बनाया था. Problems that are identified through solution validation will be reported and prioritized for solution. जो भी हमने प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई किए सॉल्यूशन वैलिडेशन के थ्रू वो हम रिपोर्ट करेंगे और प्रायोरिटाइज करेंगे और उनको रेजोल्यूशन करेंगे. प्रॉब्लम्स से मीन जो हमारे डिफेक्ट्स आ रहे हैं जो आइडेंटिफाइड हैं हम उनको जो सॉल्यूशन वैलिडेशन के थ्रू आइडेंटिफाई हुए हैं हम उनको रिपोर्ट और प्रायोरिटाइज करते हैं. When a problem is identified with the solution, for example, a failure to meet stakeholder need, जब भी हमारी एक स्टेक होल्डर की एक नीड थी और वो हम नहीं उसको कर सके, whether or not the requirement was correctly specified, रीजन हो सकती है कि हमने रिक्वायरमेंट बिल्कुल ठीक की है और दूसरी ये हो सकती है कि हमने रिक्वायरमेंट ही गलत की है. जब रिक्वायरमेंट्स गलत हैं तो फिर तो समझ में आने वाली बात है, लेकिन ऐसे केस में जबकि रिक्वायरमेंट्स भी ठीक डॉक्यूमेंट की है, ये स्पेसिफाई की है, स्टिल द बिजनेस एनालिस्ट विल बी एबल टू हेल्प द टीम डिटरमिन द मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट एक्शन. अगर वो नीड पूरी नहीं हुई और एक जो सोल्यूशन है उसने प्रॉब्लम उसके अंदर थ्रू दिस टास्क जो है वो आइडेंटिफाई हो गया है तो उसके बाद भी बिजनेस एनालिस्ट जो है वो टीम की हेल्प करेगा कि वो कैसे हमने बेसिकली उस जो भी प्रॉब्लम है उसको अटेंड कैसे करना है, क्या बेहतर सोल्यूशन हमारा हो सकता है. सो एंड देन we are having inputs to this task, just like other things. We have description and then we have inputs, and obviously we need to validate the solution. So we don't want deployed solution or we don't want designed solution. We want solution constructed which is actually been there. This is a new solution which has been constructed. So validation can only be performed against a solution that actually exists. This is a new solution, remember. Now, this is not the old solution which we are going to replace, and the solution may or may not be in actual use by the enterprise. Now this is very important. So there may be a case कि जिसके अंदर तो आपका जो solution है वो फौरन का फौरन आपने दिया और एंटरप्राइज उसको यूज करने लग पड़ी. दूसरा ये हो सकता है कि वो सॉल्यूशन अभी बन गया है और अभी उसका बीटा वर्जन जो है वो है और आप उसको देख रहे हैं, अभी वो ऑपरेशनल नहीं हुआ. सो जस्ट एन एग्जांपल कि आपने सारे जो टेस्ट हैं सारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं सारे पूरे कर लिए और अब आपका जो रोड है वो कंस्ट्रक्ट हो गया है लेकिन अभी उसके ऊपर ट्रैफिक के लिए ओपन नहीं हुआ, अभी इनॉग्रेशन नहीं हुई. सो इस स्टेज में जो होगा आपका जो भी सोल्यूशन दैट विल बी सोल्यूशन कंस्ट्रक्टेड. अगर हम सॉफ्टवेयर की एग्जांपल लें तो इंटरफेस बन गया है, पीछे डेटाबेस और जो भी हमारा सॉफ्टवेयर की लॉजिक है वो सारी डेवलप्ड है और अब हमें बेसिकली उसको डिलीवर कर दिया है लेकिन अभी जो एंड यूज़र है उसके पास नहीं गया बल्कि जो हमारे SMEs हैं जो हमारे सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट्स हैं वो उनके पास है. सो वो इसको भी देख सकते हैं और आपका टेस्टर भी इसको देख सकता है और आप अभी खुद से जो है वो कुछ डाटा जो है वो आप खुद से जनरेट करके रैंडम डाटा आप उसका बिहेवियर देख सकते हैं. बट यू वांट टू नीड टू हैव a solution which is constructed as an input. Then we are in need of requirements which are prioritized and validated. So the priorities are needed to determine which requirements are candidate for acceptance criteria. The requirements are the priorities हमें चाहिए हैं ये चीज़ हम जानने के लिए कि जो हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं उनमें से कौन सी हैं ऐसी जो कि जिनके ऊपर हमें एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया जो है वो उसके ऊपर हमें लगाना है. सो द रिक्वायरमेंट्स आर यूज्ड टू डिटरमिन वेदर आउटपुट्स ऑफ द सॉल्यूशन फॉल विद इन एक्सेप्टेबल पैरामीटर्स. सो जो हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं वो हमें बेसिकली डिक्टेट करती हैं या हमें बताती हैं या हमारी हेल्प करती हैं कि हम ये देखें कि जो भी आउटपुट्स आ रहे हैं उस सोल्यूशन के क्या वो विद इन एक्सेप्टेबल पैरामीटर्स हैं। अगर तो हमने रिक्वायरमेंट स्पेसिफाई की है कि जी हमारी जो है एक रोड है वो 2000 गाड़ियों जब उस पे से गुजरें तो उनको कोई डिले नहीं आना चाहिए, लेकिन एक्चुअली क्या हो रहा है कि वहाँ हर गाड़ी जो गुजर रही है वो रुक रुक के चल रही है और उसको हर गाड़ी को 5 से 10 सेकंड का डिले आ रहा है। सो ये जो हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स थी उससे उसके अंदर जो हमारा एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया था या एक्सेप्टेबल पैरामीटर से उससे बाहर चला गया। सो ये चीज़ हमें बेसिकली प्रायोरिटाइज करने में हेल्प करती है कि हमारा एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया के हवाले से कि हमें क्या एक्सेप्टेबल क्राइटेरिया जिसके ऊपर हमने जाकर उसको वैलिडेट करना है। सो दीज आर इनपुट्स एंड नाउ वी विल हैव input output diagram. Over there we are having requirements validated and prioritized, and we have requirements prioritized through requirements management and communication, and then we are having 6 task output, that is requirements validated, and then we are having a solution constructed as input. So we are having 3 inputs and we want to validate the solution, and what we do is we apply techniques which we are going to discuss after this elements part of this task. So then we are having identified defects, we are having mitigating actions, and we are having solution validation assessment. So if we are having identified task defects, so we are going to evaluate solution performance based on that, and if we are having mitigating actions and solution validation assessment, so we are actually going for solution implementation. So this is about input and output of validate solution. So what are the elements we have talked for validate solution? Investigate defective solution output 1 and assess defects and issues 2. So there may be defects and issues, and there may be defective solution outputs. So we need to understand both. So identify defects in a solution or solution component by looking at cases where the outputs from the solution are below an acceptable level of quality. It is necessary to define what is considered to be a defective output. So what we need to do is, output is very much important, but we need to we need to tell, हमें पहले बताना है कि क्या चीज़ जो है वो हमारी defective output होगी. We need to identify that. So जब हम बात करते हैं कि हमें डिफेक्ट्स जो हैं वो सोल्यूशन के या सोल्यूशन कंपोनेंट के वो देखने हैं और देखने हैं आउटपुट के हवाले से, सो और फिर दूसरी हमें जो चीज़ चाहिए वो है हमें एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल ऑफ क्वालिटी. सो अब पहली चीज़ जो हमें ये करनी है कि हमें देखना है कि किस सोल्यूशन या किस सोल्यूशन कंपोनेंट की में प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है. फिर हमने ये देखना है कि उनके आउटपुट्स क्या हैं, कितने हैं. अगर हमारे सोल्यूशन कंपोनेंट्स 4 हैं तो उनके आउटपुट्स कितने हैं, वो कितनी तरह के आउटपुट्स दे रहे हैं. अगर वो सारे तीन तरह के आउटपुट्स दे रहे हैं तो हमारे पास 12 आउटपुट्स आ रहे हैं. और अगर 12 आउटपुट्स में से हम ये देखेंगे कि कितने जो हैं वो ख़राब हैं या डिफेक्टिव हैं. अब डिफेक्टिव होने की भी एक डेफिनेशन होनी चाहिए कि आपका क्या लेवल ऑफ क्वालिटी है. वो आपने जो है रिक्वायरमेंट्स लेवल पे सेट किया हुआ है, आपको वो एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल अचीव करना. So we need to define कि डिफेक्टिव आउटपुट क्या है, और फिर हम उस हिसाब से अपनी जो भी हमारे आउटपुट्स हैं उसको देखेंगे कि वो कैसे बिहेव कर. So there is an example. A requirement might be considered to be defective if it is changed more than once before it is implemented, or if it is rejected by the reviewers after the second round of reviews. When it can be determined that the solution is consistently producing defective outputs, root cause analysis should be performed in order to identify the cause of the problem. हमारा एक solution आया, उसके outputs problem किया और उसको हमने redeploy किया, उसने फिर problem किया, तो वो defective हो जाएगा. या हमने रिव्यूअर्स को भेजा, रिव्यूअर्स ने उसके में कहा कि जी ये प्रॉब्लम है, हमने दोबारा उसको प्रॉब्लम को समझ करके भेजा, ठीक करके भेजा, रिव्यूअर्स जब दूसरी दफा उसको रिजेक्ट करते हैं तो दैट सोल्यूशन इज डिफेक्टिव। लेकिन ये कोई इशू नहीं है, हमें बेसिकली देखना यह है कि उसकी रूट कॉज क्या है, वो क्यों डिफेक्टिव डिक्लेयर हो रहा है। सो उसके लिए हम रूट कॉज एनालिसिस जो है वो करते हैं। उसके बाद असेस डिफेक्ट्स एंड इश्यूज। So we need to do that as well. Identified defects are reviewed to assess the effect that will have on the operation of the organization. So एक तो ये चीज़ है कि उसमें डिफेक्ट्स आइडेंटिफाई हो गए, उसके आउटपुट्स में प्रॉब्लम आ गया। अब हमने ये देखना है कि वो जो डिफेक्ट्स हैं उनका सोल्यूशन पे और हैंस उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या एंटरप्राइज जिसके लिए हम ये काम कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर क्या इफेक्ट आ सकता है, टोटल एज अ होल क्या इफेक्ट आ सकता है। So this requires determining the severity of the defect and the probability of the occurrence of the defect and the severity of the business impact and the capacity of the business to absorb the impact of the defects. So एक तो हमें ये चीज़ पता करनी है कि वो जो severity है डिफेक्ट की वो कितनी है, फिर हमने देखना है कि उसकी probability कितनी है, उसके होने की likelihood क्या है कि वो डिफेक्ट अगर आउटपुट दे रहा है, लाइक अगर हमारे 100 आउटपुट्स हैं तो सिर्फ एक आउटपुट रैंडमली खराब हो रहा है, तो हमें ये देखना है कि क्या प्रोबेबिलिटी है कि वो कितना। और फिर दूसरा हमने ये देखना है कि अगर वो कोई डिफेक्ट दे रहा है कोई आउटपुट में तो उसका ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट क्या हो सकता है हमारे बिजनेस जो उसके ऊपर। और फिर हमने ये भी देखना है कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल ये प्रोबेबिलिटी भी लो है और इसका इम्पैक्ट भी लो है तो फिर हमने ये देखना है कि क्या हमारा जो बिजनेस है क्या उसकी कैपेसिटी है कि उसको अब्सॉर्ब कर सके उस नुकसान को या उस लॉस को, या वी नीड टू एक्चुअली, इफ द आंसर इज नो वी विल गो बैक एंड वी विल ट्राई टू reduce the probability or impact, and if we can then we will go back and we will try to reduce the severity of that effect or even eliminating that. And for that we need to we need to apply acceptance and evaluation criteria. So remember acceptance and evaluation criterion are different. Acceptance criteria जो हैं वो अप्लाई होते हैं जब हमारा एक सोल्यूशन हो और हमने उसको ही देखना हो, सो दैट इज एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया। गिवन हमें दिया हुआ है एक एनवायरमेंट, हमें कि जी ये चीज़ें हैं जिसके ऊपर हमें काम करना है और उसके ऊपर हमें ये देखना है कि क्या हमारा सोल्यूशन ये सारे पैरामीटर्स फुलफिल करता है, अगर तो सारे करता है तो वी विल एक्सेप्ट दैट। एवेल्युएशन इज जब हमारे पास 4, 5, 6 सोल्यूशन हो और अब हमने उसको एवेल्युएट करना हो कि कौन सा कैसे बिहेव करता है, सो वी देन एवेल्युएट दैट। सो डिटरमाइनिंग द सेट ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट्स दैट द सोल्यूशन मस्ट मीट इन ऑर्डर टू बी कंसिडर्ड वैलिड, एंड प्रॉब्लम ट्रैकिंग यूज्ड टू ट्रैक आइडेंटिफाइड डिफेक्ट्स टू इंश्योर दैट दे आर रिजॉल्व्ड। सो सिर्फ यही नहीं कि हमने डिफेक्ट जो हैं वो आइडेंटिफाई कर लेने हैं और उसके बाद कुछ नहीं करना, हमने वो जो प्रॉब्लम्स आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं अब हमने उनको ट्रैक भी करना है, उनको देखना है कि वो किसके पास चले गए हैं, कौन उस पर काम कर रहा है, और फिर हमने इंश्योर करना है कि वो जो है वो प्रॉब्लम्स या इश्यूज जो हैं वो रिजॉल्व हो गए। और जैसा कि हम बात कर रहे थे कि हमें बेसिकली ये सारी चीज़ें निकालने के लिए कि व्हाट इज़ द बेसिक कॉज, सो उसके लिए हम रूट कॉज एनालिसिस करते हैं, used to ensure that the underlying reason for a defect is identified rather than simply correcting the output, which may be a symptom of deeper underlying problem. Stakeholders. So following stakeholders which are given on your screen are actually been there. So domain SMEs, they will provide input into the development of acceptance and evaluation criteria. They will set कि किस क्राइटेरिया के ऊपर आपने एक्सेप्ट करना है और किस क्राइटेरिया के ऊपर आपने एवेलुएट करना है डिफरेंट जो भी आपके सॉल्यूशंस आएंगे उनको। और उसके बाद एंड यूजर्स, दे मे असिस्ट इन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एक्सेप्टेंस एंड एवेलुएशन क्राइटेरिया एंड पार्टिसिपेट इन एक्सेप्टेंस टेस्टिंग। सो वो भी बेसिकली आपको एंड यूजर है जिसने ये चीज़ यूज़ करनी है, जो सोल्यूशन यूज़ करना है, सो उसकी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स है वो इस चीज़ को डिक्टेट करेगी। Implementation subject matter experts will support the validation process, investigates defects, correct identified defects and participate in defect prioritization and resolution process. So this is जो भी defects का है सारा issue वो implementation SMEs का baby है. Operational support will support the deployment of defect resolutions, and project manager responsible for coordination of work between the parties involved in validation process. Testers will actually help and in solution verification is the responsibility of the tester. Tester will develop and execute tests to identify defects which may need to be assessed and validated by the business analyst, and regulator may review the results of acceptance testing and require the records be kept regarding the process and outcomes, and sponsors, the sponsor or designate whatever maybe must accept the solution. So this is stakeholders we may have in this task of validate solution. So from that thing we are having three outputs, and that is identified defects, known problem that exist in a solution. So we are having one output, and then second output is mitigating actions. So steps that can be taken or processes that can be followed to reduce or eliminate the effect on an identified defect has on a stakeholder or stakeholder group. And solution validation assessment and assessment of whether the solution is able to meet the business need at an acceptable level of quality. So these are few outputs of validation, validate solution task, which is the fifth task of solution assessment and validation. And with that we have completed our 5 tasks, and we are proceeding to the last task of this knowledge area. We have discussed that like 6 knowledge areas, they are defined by the tasks. We have 6 tasks in first knowledge area, that is business analysis, monitoring and planning and monitoring, and then we have second knowledge area, elicitation, that's having 4 tasks, and then we are having 5 tasks for requirements management and communication, and then 5 for enterprise analysis, and then we are having 6 tasks for requirement analysis, and then we are having 6 tasks for solution assessment and validation. And after that knowledge area we will be left with underlying competencies, and underlying competencies are not defined by the tasks, rather over there we are having different competencies which the business analyst must possess or is recommended if the business analyst is good in possessing those competencies or characteristics. So hence we are actually proceeding to the last task of business analysis as far as these sessions are concerned. So what we do in evaluate solution performance, we evaluate functioning solutions. It is actually evaluates functioning solutions to understand the value they deliver and identify opportunities for improvements. So now we have validated functioning solutions available with us, and they are performing in the organization, and now we need to assess. We had actually taken up those for some business need, and we had developed the business case. While we were designing the business need and business case, so that was based on some assumptions and constraints as well. So but when a system or solution is deployed, now those assumptions, they are gone, and now we need to see if the solution is performing, and we wanted to have like profits up to 10%. Are we having those profits or not? जब पहले हम बना रहे थे, जब हम पहले की बात कर रहे थे, जब हमने बिजनेस नीड बनाई थी या हमने जो बिजनेस केस बनाया था, उसमें हमने ये एंटिसिपेट किया था कि ये वैल्यू मिलेगी हमें. उस वक्त हमारे पास एक्चुअल कुछ नहीं था. हमने ये देखा था कि ये वैल्यू हमें मिलनी चाहिए है. क्या वो वैल्यू हमें मिली है? वो अब हम इस टास्क के अंदर देखेंगे. वैल्यू जो हमने प्लान की थी उससे ज़्यादा भी मिल सकती है, उससे कम भी मिल सकती है। सो हमें एक्चुअल बेसिकली वैल्यू जो है वो हमने देखनी है, और फिर हमने ये देखना है कि अगर वो वैल्यू मिल रही है तो क्या फर्दर अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं जिसको हम एक्सप्लॉइट कर सकते हैं, हम कैसे वो वैल्यू जो है उसको एनहेंस कर सकते हैं, हम कैसे जो है बाकी चीज़ों को जो है वो जो उसके प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उनको कटेल करके हम अपॉर्चुनिटीज, सो वी नीड टू वर्क ऑन दैट एज वेल. So solution evaluation involves investigating how a solution is actually used after it is deployed, and assessing the effect it has had, both positive and negative. It may also be referred to as post-implementation assessment when performed immediately following the completion of a project, and solutions may be adopted and modified directly by end users, including use of manual workarounds, recording of additional information, adoption of informal policies and procedures in order to resolve problems that have occurred, or to allow new uses of the solutions. So this is all about evaluate solution performance. We need to understand this, how a solution is actually been used after it is deployed, and assessing the effect it has had. जो अभी तक इसका आ चुका है वो नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है, वो पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है. हमें एक सोल्यूशन चाहिए जो कि अभी इम्प्लीमेंटेड है, और उसके बाद हम उसको सो व्हाट वी नीड एज इनपुट, वी नीड बिजनेस रिक्वायरमेंट्स, एंड वी वांट आइडेंटिफाइड डिफेक्ट्स, and we need solution performance matrices and solution deployed, which we are going to now. This solution deployed is different than the solution deployed we have talked earlier. उस वक्त जो solution deployed था वो वाला solution था जो already existing था, और उस वक्त जो हम solution design की बात कर रहे थे वो था जो हम करना चाह रहे हैं. अब जो करना चाह रहे हैं वो deploy हो चुका है, right? अब उसका नाम solution deployed हो चुका है. So business requirement एक हमारा input है. So the performance of the solution will be measured against the business requirements. Without clear business requirements, it is impossible to assess the solution's performance effectively, since there are no defined goals that it is supported to meet. तो हमें basically जो requirements हैं वो देखनी है कि क्या वो हमारी requirements जो थी business की वो पूरी हो रही हैं या नहीं हो रही. अगर तो वो पूरी हो रही हैं solution is good, but अगर वो पूरी नहीं हो रही तो solution में कोई issue है. उसके बाद identified defects. Any known defects must be considered in assessing the quality of a solution. And solution performance matrices. These represent the criteria by which the performance of the solution is to be assessed. ये भी basically हमें ये criteria represent करता है जिसके ऊपर हमें solution की जो performance है वो हम assess कर सकते हैं. और ये criteria कौन develop करता है? They may be quantitative, like time, volume, revenue, errors found, or other information for which hard numbers are available, or qualitative, user or customer satisfaction, recommendations, or other measures which summarize the opinion of stakeholders. और ये solution performance matrices जो हैं इसके ऊपर हम बात भी करेंगे, और लेकिन ये basically आपने अगर set किए हुए हैं तो वेरी गुड, अगर नहीं किए तो फिर बिजनेस एनालिस्ट को ये भी चीज़ें चाहिए हैं. बट हमने ये सोल्यूशन परफॉर्मेंस जो मैट्रिसेस हैं ये हमारे पास होने चाहिए. उसके बाद हमें वो सोल्यूशन चाहिए जो ऑलरेडी डिप्लॉयड है, जिसको हम ये जिस पे ये हम टास्क करना चाह रहे हैं. सो दिस टास्क कैन नॉट बी परफॉर्म अंटिल द सोल्यूशन इज इन यूज. सो द सोल्यूशन मस्ट बी इन यूज सो दैट वी कैन एक्चुअली अप्लाई. एंड वी आर हैविंग बिजनेस रिक्वायरमेंट्स, वी आर हैविंग identified defects, which was output of previous task, and solution deployed. ये वो solution है which is currently in use, and solution performance matrices. So we need to evaluate the performance. We will apply techniques, and we will have solution performance assessment. And this assessment will actually be used in assess capability gaps, which is actually eventually will give us what is this output will eventually be input to that task. So this is how input and output diagram of evaluate solution performance. And now understand value delivered by a solution. These are a few elements. First element we had talked, we need to understand the value delivered by the solution. So gather the actual matrices that describe the performance of the solution. Applications may automatically report on some or all of the defined matrices. We have automated systems intact, but where they do not, it will be necessary to gather qualitative and quantitative performance information. It is preferable if we can have quantitative matrices and hence information set. And then validate solution matrices. In some cases, the performance of a solution will be considered excellent based on the defined performance matrices for that solution. But the business goals and objectives that those matrices are supposed to be aligned with are not being met. An analysis effort to identify and define more appropriate matrices, including modification of the solution to collect and report on those matrices, may be required. And then a solution replacement or elimination. So eventually it will be necessary to consider the replacement of a solution or solution component. This may occur because an IT system or other technology component has reached the end of its useful life, so we can have this thing. So these are few elements of evaluate solution performance elements. And the techniques we apply is decision analysis and force groups and observation and survey and questionnaire. So decision analysis. Cost benefit analysis is a very good example of one decision analysis, and it is typically used to determine the financial impact of the solution to on the organization. While critical, it is important to ensure that the non-financial costs and benefits are also evaluated. And focus groups, they are useful to gain a detailed qualitative understanding of the value of solution to a group of stakeholders. It can be used to uncover new information beyond the scope of previously defined matrices. And then observations may reveal uses or problems that are not being reported. And survey and questionnaire enables gathering quantitative and qualitative information from large number of stakeholders. If a survey is properly designed and is responded to by a statistically significant and representative sample of the stakeholder population, it can accurately reflect the opinion of the entire population. So these are few techniques we can deploy to have evaluation of solution performance. And these are the stakeholders which are engaged in this task. So customer, domain SMEs, and suppliers, they may provide recommendation for improvement. End users are responsible for day-to-day operation of the solution and major source of information on problems and defects. And operational support will be involved in monitoring the performance and effectiveness of solution or its components. A regulator may have requirements regarding the performance of a solution that must be met on an ongoing basis, and sponsor, the person responsible for the operation of the solution from a business perspective, will be responsible for deciding if the solution evaluation warrants the initiation of a change initiative. So these are stakeholders, and now we will have the output. So we will have solution performance assessment with us, which describes how the solution is performing in relation to business goals and objectives. So this is all about solution performance. And now we have covered all of the 6 tasks: assess proposed solution. Then we have talked on allocate requirements and assessing organizational readiness, defining transition requirements, validating solution, and evaluating solution performance. Now let's have a look on the definition again. So this knowledge area is about the tasks that are performed in order to ensure the solution meet the business need. Now we have completed this part. We have checked the performance even after implementation, and if there are defects, we have actually given it a try to resolve those. And what we need to facilitate their successful implementation of the solutions. So this is the definition is now is fully understood, I believe. So let's have the summary of this lecture. In this lecture, we have seen the definition of solution assessment and validation. And then we had seen input and output diagram again, and we had talked on 6 tasks, and these 2 or 3 were actually been discussed the other day, and now these 3 were discussed today. So we had talked on how ट्रांजिशन रिक्वायरमेंट्स आर डिफाइंड, हमें एक सोल्यूशन से दूसरे सोल्यूशन पे जाना है तो हमारी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स होंगी और क्या कैपेबिलिटीज़ हमें चाहिए होंगी. उसके बाद हमने सोल्यूशन जो कर ली उसको वैलिडेट करना है, उसके अंदर डिफेक्ट्स देखने हैं, और फिर जो हमारा उसको डिप्लॉयड सोल्यूशन है उसको हमने वैल्यूएट करना है कि उसकी परफॉर्मेंस कैसी चल रही है. So in this fashion we will complete this solution assessment. So this is all about solution assessment and validation, and we have completed our knowledge area number 6, and we are left with one knowledge area, and that is underlying competencies which a business analyst and team should possess to successfully implement business analysis activities. But major chunk of this seminar has already been covered. So I say thank you, good luck, and Allah Hafiz.